Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, Kumarji.
Namaste, Mama.
Namaste.
Namaste, Kumarji.
Okay, Uma. Almost ready. Moving up the screen. Okay, Kranti is here. Okay, very good. Let's start with 3 ohms. Please take a deep breath. Namaste, Suprabhatam, Namo Namaha to all of you, depending on where you are. We will start with with Kranti chanting the entire Samadhi Pada. So Kranti, go ahead. Thank you, Kranti.
Yeah, thank you. You can hear me, right?
Yes, very well.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh. योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि आबाहुपुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणम् सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिं श्रीमते अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः। अथ समाधिपादः अथ योगानुशासनं योगः चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः तदा द्रष्टुः स्वरूपे अवस्थानं वृत्तिसारूप्यम् इतरत्र वृत्तय पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टाः प्रमाण विपर्यय विकल्प नेत्र स्मृतयः प्रत्यक्ष अनुमान आगमाः प्रमाणानि विपर्ययो मिथ्या ज्ञानम् अतद्रूप प्रतिष्ठं शब्द ज्ञानानुपाति वस्तु शून्यो विकल्पः अभाव
प्रत्ययालम्बना तमो वृत्तिर्नेत्रा अनुभूतविषय असम्प्रमोषः स्मृतिः अभ्यासवैराग्याभ्यां तन्निरोधः तत्र स्थितौ यत्नोऽभ्यासः स तु दीर्घकाल नैरन्तर्य सत्कार आदरा आसेवितो दृढभूमिः दृष्टानुश्रविक विषयवितृष्णस्य वशीकारसंज्ञा वैराग्यं तत्परं पुरुषख्यातेः गुणवैतृष्ण्यं वितर्क विचार आनन्द अस्मितारूप अनुगमात् सम्प्रज्ञातः विरामप्रत्यय अभ्यासपूर्वः संस्कारशेषः अन्यः भवप्रत्ययो विदेहप्रकृतिलयानां श्रद्धा वीर्य स्मृति समाधिप्रज्ञा पूर्वक इतरेषां तीव्रसंवेगानाम् आसन्नः मृदु मध्य अधिमात्रत्वात् ततोऽपि विशेषः ईश्वर प्रणिधानात्वा क्लेश कर्म विपाक आशयैः अपरामृष्टः पुरुषविशेष ईश्वरः तत्र निरतिशयं सर्वज्ञबीजं स एष पूर्वेषामपि गुरुः कालेनानवच्छेदात् तस्य वाचकः प्रणवः तज्जपः तदर्थभावनं ततः प्रत्यक्चेतनाधिगमः अपि अन्तराया भावश्च व्याधि ध्यान संशय प्रमाद आलस्य अविरति भ्रान्ति दर्शन अलब्ध भूमिकत्व अनवस्थितत्वानि चित्तविक्षेपाः ते अन्तरायाः दुःख दौर्मनस्य अङ्गमेजयत्व श्वास प्रश्वासाः विक्षेप सह भुवः तत्प्रतिषेधार्थम् एकतत्त्वाभ्यासः मैत्री करुणा मुदितोपेक्षाणां सुख दुःख पुण्यविषयाणां भावनातः चित्तप्रसादनं प्रच्छर्दन विधारणाभ्यां वा प्राणस्य विषयवती वा प्रवृत्तिरुत्पन्ना मनसः स्थिति निबन्धिनी विशोका वा ज्योतिष्मती वीतरागविषयं वा चित्तं स्वप्ननेत्रा ज्ञानालम्बनं वा यथाभिमता ध्यानाद्वा परमाणु परममहत्वान्तः अस्य वशीकारः क्षीणवृत्तेः अभिजातस्येव मणेः ग्रहीतृ ग्रहण ग्राहेषु तस्थ तदञ्जनता समापत्तिः तत्र शब्दार्थज्ञानविकल्पैः संकीर्ण सवितर्क समापत्तिः स्मृतिपरिशुद्धौ स्वरूपशून्येव अर्थमात्रनिर्भासा निर्वितर्का एतयैव सविचारा निर्विचारा च सूक्ष्मविषया व्याख्याता सूक्ष्मविषयत्वं च अलिङ्गपर्यवसानम् ता एव सबीजः समाधिः निर्विचारवैशारथ्ये अध्यात्मप्रसादः ऋतंभरा तत्र प्रज्ञा श्रुतानुमान प्रज्ञाभ्याम् अन्यविषया विशेषार्थत्वात् तच्च संस्कारः अन्यसंस्कार प्रतिबन्धी तस्यापि निरोधे सर्वनिरोधात् निर्बीजः समाधिः श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम.
Thank you, Kranti. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that was a breathtaking experience. With her chanting all the 51 sutras of Samadhipada that we have seen over the last almost 2 months. So, as usual, we'll start with the recap of the entire Samadhipada. So I sent out a teaser if anyone wants to do this, and nobody took the bait. So I'm still wanting to make that offer. Anyone?
I can try, but it may take me longer than you take.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. I'll try, and if you think it's inappropriate, you can stop me.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, just remember, you don't have to do sutra by sutra. Just
Right.
Where we have done as because its entire thing is split into sets. Just give the summary of the set. That's good enough.
Okay. All right. So the Pada starts with saying that the instructions are the Yoga Anushasan is based on the teachings of Patanjali, and yoga is defined as complete quelling of all the vrittis of the chit, because then the drishta or the true being will abide in the chit. Otherwise, at all other times, you identify yourself with the vrittis in your mind. And then he describes the 5 vrittis, each of which can bring klishta and aklishta. And these are pramana, viparya, vikalpa, nidra, and smritya. And should I define them?
No, that's fine. That's good enough.
Okay. Okay. And the way to overcome these vrittis are by abhyas and vairagya. And then he defines what abhyas and vairagya is. And they have to be practiced all the time, dirghakala, nirantar, without interruption and with the right attitude. And only then can it be firmly established. And then you gain purushikyate, the awareness of the Parampurush. After this, there's a definition of the Sampragyata Samadhi, different stages of Sampragyata Samadhi and other states. And it has to be practiced with Shraddha, Virya, and Smriti Samadhi. That means with faith, with courage, determination, and practice. This intensity and the speed will vary on the person. The more intense the practice, the faster one can learn this and gain the state of samadhi.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second here. This
Sure.
is the second section, starting at Sutra 121. The
Right.
second section starts. So Sutra up to 120 is the first section. Go ahead, please. You're doing great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Another way to gain samadhi is by Ishvara Paridhana, Pranidhan. And he defines Ishvara as the Param Purush Vishesh, who is free of klesh and karma, who is the charterhouse of all knowledge and transcends time. And
the
he's
guru.
been designated, he's the guru of all gurus, and his designation of Ishwar is, or communication with him is through Om, and thinking of the meaning of Om. In that case, the divinity within you comes forth and all the obstacles are removed. And then he defines all the 9 obstacles. Vyadhi, Dhyan, Samshay, Pramad, Alasya, Avirati, Pranti Darshan, Alapta Bhumi Katva.
I'm going to interrupt you again. The last section starts here in Sutra 130.
Okay. In addition, there's others associated with it, like Dukh, Dorimanasya, Anga, Mejatva, and Shvasa Prashasa. And the way to oppose all this is by Maitri, Karuna, Mudit, Upekshanam, Dusukh, Dukh, Punya, Apunya. And the other ways are doing pranayam, or you can focus on bringing the chit to ekagrita. And you can do that by focusing on anything that suits you. It can be the smallest of the small, or it can be vast. And he goes through different examples. And it says that once you achieve the state of sampatti, the whole chit is pervaded by one thought. Just like if you put a piece of clear crystal in front of a colored cloth, each and every point of that crystal is taken up by the color or the tint of that cloth. And then he describes the Sampragyata Samadhi, which is of different forms. One is Vitark and Nirvitark. And in Vitark form, you have the Shabda Artha and Gyan of the your Alambana, and also the background commentary going on through your mind. In Nirvitark, you have only the Gyan of the object and all the others, the Nam, Roop, and the commentary stops. So in the same manner, in Nirvichar and Savichar and Nirvichar Samadhi. But in each of this, there is some bij in the chit. In Nirvichar, when one becomes adept in this kind of samadhi, one gets serenity and clarity of the mind. And this comes by the grace of God or the divine. And this is called Titambhara Tatra Pragya. This kind of knowledge is the absolute truth when there's cosmic connectivity. And this knowledge is different from all other kinds of knowledge that have been described before. And the sanskar that is established by doing this wipes out or overrides all the other sanskars in the chit. And the last one you haven't done, but I can say, the other form is the Nirbij Samadhi, the last sutra.
Oh, I mean, I think I went through that quickly. Yeah, but it is just it's just giving the name because we all. Yeah, go ahead. Say that too.
Yeah, the other samadhi is without any beach, nirbij samadhi.
Thank you. That was
When all
wonderful.
the vrittis are gone, all each and every, there's not even one focus, the one alambana that you're focusing on. Everything is all clear, shunya.
Thank you. See, the last sutra 151, Tasya api nirode, sarva nirodat, nirbija samadhi. So what he is saying here is, in sabija samadhi, as we saw earlier, there is as part of this establishment of the divine connectivity, what happens? Slowly, a program comes in. A new program is formed. That's what we saw, Pratibandhi. In one Sutra 150, that's what it's saying. So a new program is getting created from that Sabija Samadhi, and it is locking everything. So in Sutra 151, he says, in that lock, what happens? Even when you come out of the meditative state, that lock still exists. Sarva nirodhat. It is always you're always in that state, meaning the activations have all been stopped. So this he is calling as nirbija samadhi, where you don't need a seed. In sabija samadhi, you needed a seed to get into that state. In nirbija samadhi, you're always in that state. Even when you come out of that state, you just can slip into that state anytime. You don't need anything to lead you into that state. Like, think of it like this way. Some people in the night, when they feel sleepy, they can just go to the bed and they can fall asleep. That I'm going to call as nirbija samadhi. Some just cannot go to sleep. They have to listen to some music, or they may have to read a book, or they have to uh, uh, speak to somebody, or they have to do some comfort eating in the bed, and then only they will fall asleep, or have a drink, whatever. So those are all the seeds. So in Sabija Samadhi, there is a seed. Whereas in Nirbija Samadhi, it could be a mantra, right? In Sabija Samadhi, it could be just a mantra to lead you into that state. In Nirbija Samadhi, there is nothing. You can just slip into it. Like I said, I feel asleep, I just go to bed, I fall asleep. Like how children do, right? When they are really tired, they actually, oh, my sister is here. When she was young, oh, I have to really say this. When she was really young, till about maybe 12, 13, she would, wherever she is, she will just fall asleep. And you can set the clock to 8 p.m. in the evening. Wherever she is. She can be in the kitchen, she can be in the dining hall, she can be in the living room. Wherever she is, she will just fall asleep. She's here. I'm sure she's laughing. So we used to say that, oh, Meena has fallen asleep. So we can set our clock to 8. Actually, there used to be a siren at 8 p.m. every day from the local institute, Madras Institute of Technology. So whether the siren goes or not, we know 8 o'clock has come because Meena will fall asleep. So that is, I'm saying, kind of a nirbija samadhi. So Meena knows what is nirbija samadhi. So she has already experienced it. So this concludes chapter 1. Any questions? I know that the last maybe about 10 sutras are difficult from 41 through 51. They are abstract, um, a little difficult to understand, because this is something that you have to read, contemplate, reflect, and then you will understand. Okay, we have gone through this a few times. So he's just only explaining the various states of samadhi. So he said Savitarka Samapati state, where there is a lot of logical reasoning that is going on in the head. And then we saw the Nirvitarka Samapati state, where there is no logical analysis. The logical analysis has stopped. Right? So those two states were dependent on a seed. That seed was some kind of a logical seed. Maybe you are focused on an object of your choice, some person, those kinds of things. Whereas when you come to Nirbija Samadhi, you are focusing on something which is subtle, which is not gross. Gross meaning that you can see as an object. Whereas when you say subtle, you cannot see it as an object. You are focusing on something subtle. So that is the seed for the Sabija Samadhi. And Nirbija Samadhi, there is no seed. Any questions? Okay, there are no questions.
Excuse me, Mama.
Yes.
So can we say that the difference between Savitarka Samapati and Savichara Samapati is the gross and subtle? Is that the difference?
See, Savichara is not gross. What should I say? In the Samapati state, it is on some object.
Okay.
Okay. Both. It is a kind of a. That's what I'm calling as gross.
Mm.
Whereas whereas here, it is just in a very subtle matter that I am focusing on. Sukshma, that's what we are saying. Sukshma means subtle matter,
Okay.
which is not visible, which is not something that you can imagine.
Mm.
Those kinds of things.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question? So we finished all that. We will now move on to the next pada, which is sadhana pada. So before we move on to sadhana pada, are there any questions? That's what I was asking. So in the first chapter, we saw that essentially we saw that the goal of yoga is to establish that cosmic connectivity, which is what samadhi is all about. So it's the introductory overview. So the entire introductory overview he has given in about 51 sutras. It is a full overview of all the 4 chapters that you've seen. So the second chapter is the sadhana pada. Samadhi pada is, we have seen all the sutras. In sadhana pada, essentially he tells you how to go about working on it, how to get into this different things, the states that he's talking about, how to be in a state of yoga. See, loosely we say, right? she is going to the yoga class. What do we mean by that loosely? We mean that somebody is going to the asana class, or actually you should only say hatha yoga or asana. We say yoga. Yoga, when you say yoga class, then it should deal with Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the higher dimensions. Only then you can say it is a yoga class. Yoga means it comprises all this. We will see as we proceed in Sadhana Pada, we will see that it compresses of all this. Asana, pranayama, it compresses of all that. So the second chapter is going to deal with the various sadhanas with which you can remain in the state of yoga. You were in the state of yoga. When were you? All of us were in the state of yoga. Can anyone tell me when you were in the state of yoga all the time? When you were all very young, before the age of 7. By the age of 7, we lost everything. And after that, it will be here and bits and pieces. And slowly, by the time you come to the stage of puberty, by 12, 13, even that bits and pieces is gone. And then you are in full survival mode, security and survival mode. That is all you are worried about. That is all you are seeking at that time. So, the first few sutras in the Samadhi Pada is going to tell you, Patanjali Muni is going to tell you that you have to go through the process of realizing that you are only an instrument. You are only an instrument in this big cosmic flow of things. And that your body acts as an instrument to fulfill its program. And what are the underlying components of the program will be discussed by Patanjali Muni, which is Sutra number 3. So what he is going to say here is, what is the purpose of life? Can somebody tell me what is the purpose of life? We are saying this body is an instrument, right? What is the purpose of life?
To come out of the samsara, like the life, and to stop the life, the birth. I don't know how to put it. The birth and rebirth.
Yes, the birth and rebirth cycle. Yes.
To come out of it.
Yes,
to stop.
So we say karma klesha cycle. That is one way to say it. But more importantly, when we are born, why are we born? Because some karma fruition. That is why we are born, correct? Some karma fruition, and hence we are born. So what is that we have to do in this birth? We have to let that karma flow through us. That is the purpose of life. We have to let that karma flow through us. A part of that karma is that you have to be born in a certain family. So a family could be poor, a family could be middle class, a family could be lower middle class, a family could be upper class, a family could be rich, a family could be super rich. You don't have a choice. You are born because of the karmic pattern, and you agreed, you wanted, because the karma has to as fruition, and the karma has to flow through based on the karmic pattern. You have to be born in a certain family. You chose and you came here. You accepted and you came here. And then after coming here, you forget all that, and then you complain, oh, I am born in this family. I don't have this luxury, that luxury, which others are enjoying, right? So that is actually opposing the karma. So I'm forgetting about minor things. Major things could come. You are born, you grow up, you may get educated, Some may not get educated, then you're married. That's when the big test comes. Some people get the test even before that, because even to get educated, they have to struggle. And then another person comes into your life, or you go into another person's life when you get married. A big test comes. And not understanding that as part of karma, I have to fulfill this role is the biggest problem for humanity. You have to go through all this karma. That is why you have come here. That is the purpose of life. The purpose of life is not to make money. The purpose of life is not to get recognition. The purpose of life is not to become famous. If you have to become famous, you will automatically become famous. The divine will, the karmic patterns, everything will lead you to that. That does not mean you have to be sitting and sleeping at home saying that, oh, the karmic pattern will take care of everything. No, I'm not saying that. So this is the purpose of life, and understanding that is what we are going to see. Understanding that purpose of life is why we are here, and to let the karma flow through us. So why are we not able to fulfill this karmic patterns as they go through? Why is that we are having so many difficulties in accepting it? So that is what he's going to discuss in Sutra 2.3 to 2.9. He's going to point out what are all the various things that are there. The impurities or kleshas, that's what we call. He's going to discuss the kleshas to tell you what is that is going to, what is that is preventing us from letting us go through this. So he's going to also talk, he has also talked to us about how by being a pure observer, we can go through life without any problems. These activations that we have come with, various activations that are in our head programs, that's what we call them, how they activate at different points of time, and how they how by identifying with that, we find it very difficult to lead life. So this is what he explained in chapter 1. In chapter 2, he is going to give us a lot more as to how we can get over all these things, all these difficulties we have, the chitta vrittis, how to get over those chitta vrittis. He's going to discuss in more detail. In chapter 1, we saw in some detail, but that was only an overview. Now we are going to see in a lot more detail. So there he is going to explain as we go through in second chapter, somewhere after maybe about the first 15 sutras or so, he's going to talk about Ashtanga Yoga, an eightfold approach to get to the state of Samadhi. So after stating those 8 limbs, Yama, Niyama, all that he's going to say, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. 8 limbs or angas. That is why it's called Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga. 8. Ashta means 8. Anga means limbs. Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga. So he's going to describe the 8 limbs. That is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So all these 8 is going to explain. Out of the 8, he is going to explain the first 5. That is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, and Pratyahara. Here in this chapter, in this Sadhana Pada, he is going to explain the first 5. Why he is going to explain only the first 5 is the first 5 deals with the mind and body. It's focused in that area, the mind and body area. So he's going to discuss that. The next 3, Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi. The next 3 are related to the body and spirit area. So he is going to describe that in the Vibhuti-pada, the next chapter. The reason being, as he describes the body to spirit area, the dharana, dhyana, samadhi, as one gets into that, you could have various experiences. And he is going to list some of those experiences, not all, which we call the special abilities that will come your way. That is what we call as in Sanskritam, we call as siddhis. The special abilities that may come to you. And he wants you to be aware of those abilities and not to be caught offhand, right? He doesn't want you to be caught unaware. So he's going to explain all that. Obviously, he's not going to explain all the states, but a vast majority. With that, you will be able to understand that when you are going into these higher dhyana, dharana, samadhi states, you may get you will get into certain states. You will get certain experiences, and that way you won't feel, oh, am I hallucinating? Am I gone crazy? So you won't have that fear. So you're already prepared to know that certain experiences. See, an experience like going out of the body. You may leave your body and you will be out of the body. Things like that can happen. So this is what we are going to see in the next in this chapter. Although the siddhis and other things, and the final three part limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga we will see in the third chapter. I just gave a quick overview of third chapter. So with that, we will move on to Sutra 1 of second chapter. Any questions here? Okay. Tapaha Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yogaha. I'm also going to read the next sutra. Samadhi Bhavana Arthaha Klesha Tanu Karna Arthaha Cha. So we are going to see both the two sutras together will make more sense. That's why I read both. So Tapaha. We know tapas. Tap in Sanskrit, tap means heat. Heat. Like heat and cold, that heat. Why is heat important? If you see, we will in Tamil we will say Pudam pota tangam. We will say purified gold. He is purified gold. He or she is purified gold. Meaning that purification of that metal comes from heating. It doesn't come from cooling, it comes from heating. So heat is considered that which purifies. If you think in terms of electromagnetic vibrations that are embedded in us as programs, I said we are a programmed entity. We have multiple programs. So those who don't understand the concept of program, think of it as a small app. App, all of you know, because you see it all the time in your cell phone. Different apps are there. For weather, there is one app. For railway reservation, there is one app. For WhatsApp is one app. Okay, for Facebook is another app. So many apps you have on your cell phone. So that each app is actually a combination of multiple programs. For now, for simplicity, we will say each app as a program. Like that, we have many programs inside us. That is how we came. So the electromagnetic vibrations are actually existing as programs. So the elimination of the program is considered to happen through heat. See, these various programs that are on our head are the ones that are causing us all kinds of problems, right? The chitta vrittis. Yes, you are not able to be at peace even for a millisecond. The moment you close your eyes, it is jumping all over the place. It is happening because of the chitta vrittis. So a heat is needed to calm them down, or eliminate them, or to make them dormant. So when nadis purify, heat is the basis of which it purifies. For this programs to purify, all the communication channels have to be clear. Meaning the nadis have to become spotlessly clean. They have to, the communication has to flow through all the nadis, which are blocked, or partially blocked, or fully blocked, or mildly blocked. So all those blocks have to be removed. Those blocks are removed by heat. So that is why heat is important. So the other word for heat is tapa. So that is why tapas is done. When you do tapas, a kind of heat is generated which cleanses the nadis, and which in turn helps us to calm down the vrittis. With me?
Yes.
Okay. So this tapaha, what is tapas? So what we are saying here is kriya yoga. Kriya yoga means a yoga of activity. What is this yoga of activities? We are not talking about running around, obviously, but we are talking of self-reflection, etc. So how is this? What are the three components of this Kriya Yoga is what he's explaining in Sutra 1. He says, Tapaha Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani. So Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is made of actually two words, Swa and Adhyaya. Adhyaya means to learn. Swa is always swa, that prefix swa is for self. So self-learning. In self-learning, it is not just mugging up, no. There has to be two parts to that swadhyaya. Vitarka, vichara. You have to question and you have to reflect. Vichara is reflection. Vitarka is questioning. Questioning who? Internally, you have to question yourself. So that is swadhyaya. Internally, you are questioning yourself, and then you are reflecting on it to find an answer. And then you read, and then understand, question, reflect. This process goes on. Swadhyaya. So that is this is one kind of Kriya Yoga. This is one kind of active yoga. And then he says, Ishvara Pranidhanani. And with surrender to the divine, complete surrender to the divine, this constitutes tapas. And then he goes on to say that the intention of Kriya Yoga, we saw what is Kriya Yoga, or a yoga of action. And the intention of Kriya Yoga is to attain Samadhi. So that's what he says in the second sutta. Samadhi. Samadhi bhavanartha klesha tanu karana artha cha. So bhavanartha means intention. Artha means meaning. Bhavanartha means the intention or the focus. There are different words that you can use. So I will say intention. Klesha is impurities. Tanu is to weaken those impurities. Karana is the karna. Karna is the instrument. Karna is the instrument. So all that he is saying in this sutra is understanding that this body, that this body is meant for reducing and weakening and getting rid of these different kleshas, the impurities. What are the impurities? The impurities are the programs, correct? All the chittavrittis, so many programs that has come into our head, that we are born with. All which we call as, let us put it this way, as we are born with all this various kleshas. So as the program, what does it do? The concept of Kriya Yoga, you have to understand very clearly, is you are as a programmed being. The programs inside us will impel us to do certain things, due to action, right? So as the program impels you into action, if you treat the body as an instrument of the divine flow, treating the body as the instrument of the divine flow and letting the program play through. That's what we were saying earlier, letting the karma flow through us. That is the purpose of life. So letting the programs play through. In what way do you let the program play through? You let the program play through you with the intention of purification. That is tapas. And at the same time, you're doing self-reflection and as to why and what you are doing, and why and what you are doing with an attitude of surrender to the divine. That is what is Ishvara Pranidhana, which means whatever is happening within you, let it play along, let it be. The action is going on, but you are unaffected. Because you have surrendered to the divine. So this is what is Kriya Yoga all about. So now in the next set of sutras, he is going to explain. What is causing, what are the causes of these impurities? What makes these impurities turn into action, the activations? So I will cover one more sutra. That's probably all the time we will have. I would like to do this because so that you get a foundation. 2.3, avidya asmita raga dvesha abhinivesha kleshaha. Klesha means singular, kleshaha means impurities. Klesha means impurity, kleshaha means impurities, the plural. Avidya is lack of vidya. This vidya is not about science, physics, math, engineering, technology. No, this is about existence. Why we are here? Why is death happening? Why is birth happening? So the knowledge of existence. So this is what we say as, if somebody does not have this knowledge, it is called primal ignorance. That's what we call this as, primal ignorance. This is the fundamental thing one should know. If one is not knowing this, it is called primal ignorance. So avidya Asmita. Asmita we already saw. It is the sense of being an observer, sense of experiencing things without your eyes are seeing, but it is commenting without that. Being able to take in the full thing. You're hearing, you're only hearing what I'm saying, but not with the commentary of your own perceptions. When I'm speaking, after I speak 2 sentences, if you ask all the students in the class, if all the participants in the class, 10 of you, each of you will give an answer which will be colored in the way that you are made up. It won't be what I told you. This is how we receive things, both through the eyes, through the ears. This is how we receive.
Kumarji, time.
Huh? Yes.
Time.
I'm going to stop here. That is Asmita, observing without making any commentary, just being an observer. So we'll stop here. It's already 6:55. I wanted to finish them, but that's okay. We will do it next week. We'll start at 2.3 next week. As usual, we'll always do the recap. So with that, we come to the end of the session. Namaste to all of you. Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Kumarji.
you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.